Okay. We are live. I am going to be building my sector defense game. Sector defense is it's kind of a space shooter. So let me fire up. No, I don't want to use that terminal. I want to use that terminal. I want the version. Why does it always put it on a different screen? Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna exit development. My retarded self. Here we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. This is an old Godot 3 project. I kind of factored out the combat mechanics of my 4X Grand Strategy game. It started as a space roguelike. Then I noticed that X3 Operator Prelude, when you include Libcube's mod that rewrites the pathfinding for NPCs so you don't crash into things, and allows you to actually take control territory. It basically, Libcube's mod turns X3 into, X3 Operator Prelude to be precise, into a 4X Grand Strategy game from a first-person perspective, but it's basically EVE offline. There's menus within menus. There's too many menus. The controls aren't intuitive. It had a good going, but there's a reason why space games kind of died, and that reason is essentially that they got too complicated. Like, I don't want full simulation capabilities. I want arcade style spaceflight. So this test scene. Let me fire up this test scene. That's a star. I need to change the field of view. This is using a simpler, simpler system for moving around. You know, it's like I need to create collision, then on collision have a loading screen that plops into the atmosphere of the planet. You know, I just phased through the planet. That's, you know, not cool. And I just went through the other side, yeah. This is airplane and space style flight. I'm going to have, let me make this full screen. Not the file manager. I'm used to running i3 Window Manager and Super F or Windows key F if you're on Windows. And Windows doesn't, well, Windows 11 has tile window management, but it's very primitive if it's on Linux. And there's a lot of options. I've been using my little back to a desktop environment because desktop environments they're just a little bit easier to work with. I know, heresy. I actually prefer the look of tiling window managers. Like, I'm going to make, if you collide with that planet, it teleports you onto an XY like a random generated planet environment. Of course, I'm gonna be swapping out to the stuff. I'm gonna have, this is more of a starfighter style control, and right now the camera is just glued to it, it's not following. I'm gonna create a follow cam, and I'm gonna have it where you can target things, either use the Star Wars Battlefront 2 target system where like it just gets everything that's not in your faction that you're looking at, like calculates what's close to looking at and hit T, then selects that, and hit T while you're looking, or maybe hit a target specific thing. I want to be able to target subsystems like in Wing Commander or other games, but also have basic like tactical shooter RTS stuff. So, like, I'm gonna create a O'Neill cylinder over these planets and have different sectors. There'll be different types of star, different planets. Right now, there's gonna be no planet terrain for now, but my 4X Grand strategy game is going to have. Oh, I want multiple games in the same shared universe, and like the people playing the exploration game in the same universe will, as they explore new systems and then like create hyperlanes and bullshit, that will go into the 4X Sprint strategy game, and then you can, you know, send fleets around. That'll be the, you know, containerize the roguelike system to that. And I'll make a desktop launcher, will basically be a launcher for multiple games. Or I'll make the desktop version use the same code for all the games. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm proof of working each gameplay mechanic into one game. These are a open source asset in Godot. It is a shader, just a sphere with a shader applied to it that make the planets look a certain way. It's pretty cool. I can then, you know, take that data and bring that into my, like, what's the name of the game? That everyone's pissed off about. It doesn't have a true open world on planets. What it does is it takes the UV coordinates and then generates an environment. And that's actually how I was going to do it. And if I do it that way, don't yell at me, guys. I'm an indie game developer by myself, but using that kind of a cheat hack to have you land, let's say, inter-orbit over that, like that spot. Yeah, I mean, I could. The lava lakes, you know, are that seeable from orbit. They're, you know. This is an arcade. This is going to be random generated. I'm not going to try to make this super accurate because I'm not into. I want arcadey space combat. I want to optimize fun. I mean, I used to want this to be a super, super realistic simulation, and I started playing War Thunder with my dad. My dad loves that game because how accurate the simulation is. I have nothing wrong with that. That's cool. Until it's like tanks are supposed to be fast. I know the Sherman tank wasn't that fast, but not by modern standards. But it's, you know, you're dragging your butt across the map, and it's so slow, and you get killed by an anti-tank gun hit in the bush right outside the map. But the guy's paying to win the game. I don't like that stuff. If I make a game, there's several open source projects that are going to tie into this project. Like, I may use Superbase as to share the database, but I would rather build my own database. And why would I rather build my own database? Because I'm autistic and I like building random shit. And I actually have an idea for a back-end database as a service, because these people are like forking, SQLite and then having like SQLite optimized for one thing on a instance around the world, and Fly.io is a Docker-based cloud platform. Makes it easy to build that kind of stuff in my mind. And I have a few ideas for essentially a back-end database as a service. It will be open sourced, but we'll have some proprietary add-ons. But for now, I'll just use Superbase and stuff. But, Superbase doesn't scale, and if I want, well, it can scale, but and for my purposes right now, it's more than good enough. But if it scales to the point where it doesn't work well anymore, So today's stuff is going to be sector generation. So what I'll need, this is a text sector. This is actually an example for this plugin that I just modified. So what I'm going to do is, of course, put the sun at the center of the map at 0.0.0. And then generate planets around it at different distances. And there's a rough equation for figuring out where asteroid maps should be, then place asteroids there. And some of these things will have moons. And I need to, if you collide, it just goes to changes scenes to a desert world or whatever kind of planet it's on. It changes scenes to that. And then if you take the UV coordinates of where you collided, I have to figure out how to get that, and then generate a world based on that. So we have a very simple infinite world. And I'm going to use this in, of course, my sector defense game to generate the sectors, in my space roguelike to generate the space system, in the Forex game to generate that. And the Forex game is going to be mostly I want it to be first-person perspective, but it's going to be pseudo top-down. What I mean by that is I'll have a 3D map of the galaxy or all the sectors, and I'll put it through a shader that makes it look like a holographic effect, and I'll have the top-down view rendered to a screen on a 3D model in game. So you'll basically, in Godot, you can embed 2D games inside of 3D as a texture, as a special texture, as a screensaver, I forget what it's called. But basically my idea is to make that so you can walk up to the bridge and command your forces and tell this ship to go to that moon from your space station, and then you'll see that. It'll look a 2D game. It'll be, the 2D will be embedded, well, that's mini-map kind of things work. And I always like Star Wars Battlefront 2, how much of a sandbox it is. And I'm basically going to make the gameplay somewhat like Star Wars Battlefront 2 Classics Galactic Conquest. So I want that galaxy map, but planetary bonuses were things that were supposed to be in that game that were never put in there. So I'm going to have that in there. So if you have a planet which is a forge world, that forge world will, increase your empire's, decrease the cost of ships by some fraction by how many forge worlds you have. And, Pi worlds will increase starting army size or starting fleet size, or fleet cap or army cap. Worlds with special resources will make your guns better or make other stuff better. That's just basic stuff that I want. And you basically defend sectors. It's a tower defense game, but inverse. Think of that mod for space engineers where you have it's towered in the survival tower defense mode, but you have to mine, grind, build stations, build defenses. But there's enemy shipyards. You can go and destroy those, and once you destroy those, they'll respawn, but it takes a time. So you have to defend your sector from incoming ships. They'll try to deploy shipyards in the asteroid fields, or like mining from the sun, which is actually technically doable theoretically. We probably don't have technology to do it now, but it's within the realm of real science to do that. And how I'm going to make the sector for this game, sector defense, I'm going to have a fixed number of sectors, and you'll jump between them. And I think it'll just be pure space combat, and maybe we'll have, I don't know, anti-orbital defense batteries on planets, and you can, like fly near the anti-orbital defense battery, hit it, and it spawns you near the defense battery, and then you shoot, then you jump back up, shoot. So we could have like missiles coming out of that. I mean, that would be simple. That'd be cool. And maybe since these are collidable objects, we have a uber powerful Death Star, or planet-killing weapon, which actually theoretically isn't that hard to build. Think about it, like if this is a spacecraft, it's supposed to be the size of a fighter, or it could be a capital ship-sized weapon. Like, who cares? Scale is irrelevant. You could travel at, say, relativistic speeds. It takes light 1.6 seconds to get to the moon. So if that's the Earth and that's the moon, and it took like 30 seconds to get here, that's you're traveling at a decent fraction of the speed of light. And just that's supposed to be like a Jupiter planet. That's, I think, 45. It takes 45 minutes for light to get to Earth to the Mars, and about an hour for light or radio waves to get from Earth to Jupiter. And yeah, that's enough flying around. Okay, let's get to programming. Oh, I forget it was before. Let's see what it is now.